Hey guys, it's Dave here from DD Drums. Thanks so much for stopping by. This video I'm going to review the top 20 books that have made the most significant impact, I believe, in my drumming like up to this point. You know, there's probably hundreds of books on the drumming market, maybe even thousands. So how do you distill that down to, say, the top 20? Well, that's what this video is going to be about. I'm just going to share, in my opinion, what have been the top 20 books up to this point in time in my drumming. So let's get started, and I'll basically go from like book 20 up to book 1. So the first couple of books will be my least in the top 20 up to the top number 1. So number 20 is one that I started off with back when I was in high school. It's called Steve Gadd Up Close, and this one goes on the list because this book here was one that I remember practicing an exercise called Crazy Army, which is very rudimental, and it comes with a tape, or at least a tape back then, and also a VHS video back then. And yeah, it covered all these different kind of beats, and yeah, it's a good one. And it even has some photos of Steve, so it kind of inspired me to take up drumming more seriously at the time. So Steve Gadd Up Close. The next one, you can see this one is falling apart, and that's because I've used it so much. And I used it back in the early days. It was called Drum Charts for Backing Tracks, and it was by a guy called Tom Jackson. And I really liked this one because, you know, you would learn a song with a track, and it would have like a beginner way of playing it, so an easy way of playing it, then an intermediate, then a more advanced one. So each song you could learn at different levels, and it had about probably actually about 50 different tracks and all different styles. So I really like that one. That comes at number 19. The next one is called Four-Way Coordination, and it's by Marvin Dahlgren. And yeah, this one was really great because it helped to break down the different coordination patterns between right hand, left hand, right foot, left foot, and putting them all in a different order. So that really challenged your development of your coordination all around. So that comes at number 18. The next one is one that I really liked for developing reading skills. You know, drummers often get challenged by their reading, and this one was a great one. And it's called The Essential Guide to Reading Rhythm by Bill Kezelos. So this one's a really great one for reading. Next we have, oh, this one was great. I really like this one because this guy, the author, his name is Rich Lackowski, and he basically looked at all different styles, you know, metal, rock, punk, you know, classic, and all these different styles, and basically looked at the top drummers from each genre, and then picked out a few beats for each drummer. Also like beginner, intermediate, advanced, and you know, did a great job with showing the beats and demonstrating them as well. So great one for looking at artists and what are the different things that they play and getting a closer look at that. Great book. The next one, probably some of you are going to kill me about this because it should have come up higher on the list, but you know, to tell you the truth, I haven't looked at this one a whole lot compared to some of the other books. So, you know, that's why it's probably lower on the list, but still definitely made a big impact on my drumming. So Joe Morello's Master Studies 2, great book for technique, outstanding book for technique. And you know, Joe Morello, I believe, has made such a big contribution to the drumming world with technique and his jazz playing as well. So really great book, that one there. The next one is called Rudiments and Motions, and this one's by Frank Corniola. So this one really covers technique, and I really liked it because it broke down all the different rudiments and different hand patterns that you can do with technique. So great book, that one there. Next one, Thomas Lang, Creative Control. Wow, this one blew my mind as far as all different challenging kind of patterns that you could come up with on the kit. And really, you know, I would say that this is probably more for advanced players, because if you're a beginner or even an intermediate, you might have a hard time with some of the concepts he teaches. So it's definitely one that, you know, you'd have in small bites because it's quite challenging in its approach, but still, you know, very good book for developing creative control in the kit. Next one of my favorites, great drummer from here in Melbourne, Australia, Darryn Farrugia. He wrote the book called Groove Perspectives, which was really great for building a groove. And he uses a lot of rhythms like paradiddles and variations of the paradiddle in his approach for, you know, approaching beats. So this one takes a close look at how he develops his style and you know, has a close look at that. So that's a great one to check out. This next one on the list I've been playing since high school, and it's called The All-American Drummer, 150 Rudimental Solos by Charley Wilcoxon. Now this one, wow, it just has all these snare drum solos, you know, and, you know, probably back in the day of snare drumming where, you know, military drumming probably comes from that era. I believe it was written in the 1950s or something. You can see this book is falling apart as well. And, but, you know, great for putting solos together on the snare drum and also in developing your rudiments in a more musical approach. So really like this one too. It's going to be a little bit challenging if you have trouble reading music, so definitely it's great for developing that side of things too. This next book is great. It's called Progressive Steps to Bass Drum Technique by Ted Reed, the same guy who wrote Syncopation. You can see it's kind of similar look about it. And the thing I loved about this book was, you know, one of the challenges that drummers have is, you know, putting their bass drum in time. But this book did a great job with coming up with exercises that, you know, developed your bass drum being more in time, more consistent, more powerful. And it does that through an approach of playing along with the hands. So the hands might be playing a single stroke roll and the bass drum has to play in time with it. So that's the way it develops that technique. And I would have to say this one was responsible. In fact, I blame this book for helping me get my bass drum playing in time. So great book for that purpose. All right, next Joe Morello book, Master Studies, outstanding. Oh, he's made such a great contribution once again to the drumming community, and powerful book for developing technique, extraordinarily powerful, Master Studies. The next one is a hidden gem. You know, I remember coming across this one at the music store. I'd never heard of it before, and it's called Phantom Groove by Roby, Corelli, the book on ghosted notes, timing, and independence. And it doesn't disappoint. This book, I found, made a massive impact in getting everything together, getting the bass drum really together, the snare drum together, the hands and the feet together with each other, and also coming up with left hand, you know, independence, where your right hand and your bass drum could be playing something, but your left hand's quite independent, and the other way around as well, so where your hi-hat and your bass drum are playing together, also your hi-hat and your snare drum are playing together, but your bass drum's independent. So it comes up with a lot of different ideas for developing that control, and also the volume control, so, you know, being more controlling the left hand's dynamics. It was extraordinarily powerful with that as well. So great book, and I continue to work on this one to this day because you can see it's such a big book, you know, this one here. So I'll definitely have to continue playing and practicing this one here. Wow, next one, what a gem. I'm sure most of you probably know this book. It's called Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer by Jim Chapin. And this one was a really challenge at first to go through because it, you know, I had a probably very robotic style at first before I started playing this, but this one helped to develop the independence so I could free up my arms and my legs, so I played in more of a good feel. And that's why I think this book developed a good feel, but also a strong independence. And of course, if you want to play jazz, then, you know, this is a must for that as well. So great book, this one here. The next book is such a classic, and you can see I'm without the drum cover here. It's without the book cover here. It's called Syncopation by Ted Reed, and this was probably the first book I ever learnt on drums, and I still practice it to this day. So because I guess you can take it in different ways. You can take it for how it's written, or you can look deeper and come up with different ideas out of what's written. So it is a really great book for learning, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And it's been around since, I believe, the 1950s, so a long time now. It's about 70 years almost. So great book, this one here. Syncopation by Ted Reed. All right, we're getting to the home stretch. This next one was outstanding for developing technique as far as dynamics. It's called Accents and Rebounds by George Lawrence Stone, and this was actually the teacher of Joe Morello. So I've probably looked at these books a little bit more than Joe Morello's, just because there's so much depth in these books that I'm yet to go on to all the other stuff. I've been practicing this one for decades, maybe not that much, but maybe about 15 years I've been practicing this one. And it's, yeah, definitely a great challenge to develop your technique, your stick control, dynamics, and coordination, and all that kind of stuff. So great book, Accents and Rebounds. All right, so next one. The next book we got is classic here. It's called Rhythm Section Drumming by Frank Corniola. And this book I love because it covers all these different beats. It's mainly covering probably rock more than anything else, rock kind of beats, but it does it in such a way where you're looking at changes through the book, going from how to play more advanced beats, and then bit by bit getting more challenging. And yeah, such a great book. Covers so much stuff here. So it also challenges you in ways where, say in a chapter, you'll learn bars that only go for one bar, beats that only go for one bar, but then it will start to challenge you by pairing them up into 2 bars, and then eventually like a whole page. So you'll have a whole page of a summary exercise. So that's a really good one to work on there. Rhythm Section Drumming by Frank Corniola. All right, getting to the top 3 books here. So the top 3 books. Here's my top 3 books for drumming. So battery just cut out, so I've gone to this camera here. So this one here, in case I didn't talk about it before, is stick control for the snare drummer. And this one here is by George Lawrence Stone. It is definitely in my top 3 books for drumming books. This one here is outstanding because it goes through all these different snare drum patterns that you could play. And let me just read to you something quick about what this book will do, at least what it promises. It says, if this book is practiced regularly, it will enable one to acquire control, speed, flexibility, touch, rhythm, lightness, delicacy, power and endurance, preciseness of execution, and muscular coordination to a degree far in excess of his present ability. And I definitely feel that that promise is quite true. I mean, every time I practice this, I feel my different areas of my playing just get elevated a little bit more. So it's such a great book for developing hand fitness. So great book, that one there. Stick Control by George Lawrence Stone. All right, so my top 2 books. Now I'm going to talk about these together just because they're by the same drummer, and they are Groove Essentials 1 and 2. So Groove Essentials 1 and 2 basically cover 100 beats, 100 different beats on drumming from all different styles. And also you have, each beat has different variations. So you probably have around 300 different beats from all different styles, and it goes from beginner to intermediate all the way to quite advanced kind of beats. And I've found these 2 books to be outstanding with developing, a stronger command, clarity, and confidence on the instrument. So, I think beats are the things that drummers are, designed to be playing, And so that's what we need to practice the most. And that's probably what I practice the most when I'm practicing out of books, these 2 books here. So Groove Essentials by Tommy Igoe. Outstanding books. That would be my number 1 and 2 in my top 20 books. So thanks for checking out this video on DD Drums. And hey, if you have a favorite book that I didn't list in this collection, then be sure to post it down below and tell us what your favorite books would be. I'm interested to know because I'm still. I mean, this is not my entire collection. Believe me, I have plenty of other books in my drumming library, but this would definitely be my top 20 as far as books that have made the biggest impact. So, thanks a lot, guys, for checking this out, and I'll see you guys soon.